show. And of course, I'm going to let you introduce yourself right after.
Sure, that sounds great.
Hell yeah, when you're ready, Josh.
I'm ready now.
You were born ready, don't you? Hey, this is Eric from Prescription Punk Rock Radio Show. This is such an honor. My friend, I'm going to do introduce yourself. Who the hell are you?
Hi, it's Josh Freese calling from sunny California.
Josh, welcome to Prescription Punk Rock. There's so much thing to talk about, but first of all, you're gonna release kick-ass records. It's a fast, furious punk rock records, short songs. It's to the point. It's good. How you felt about that?
Well, you know, the way the whole thing kind of was born was from, you know, everyone going on lockdown and March of 2020, and I went from being the busiest guy around to sitting around with nothing to do like everybody else, you know, and being at home more than I've ever been at home. And so, you know, I kind of retreated back into my studio, and aside from doing some session work with people, you know, I do remote session work for people on records from my home, doing more of that, but I was like, you know, I need to have some fun and blow off some steam, so I'm going to write some songs without having the daunting task of sitting down and writing a whole song with an intro and a verse and a chorus and a bridge and an outro and all these things and all these lyrics. I said, you know what, I'm going to do these fun little 1-minute songs, and I'm just going to record them, and I'm going to make weird little videos on my phone and put them up on Instagram, and I'm not making these to sell, and I'm not making these to think that I'm going to make money from it. This is purely from an honest and sincere, fun, artistic place, and it's really just, for me, kind of amusing myself, and I love the process of writing and recording, and it's fun for me to do, and as I was doing it, after putting some songs up on Instagram, which is really where I thought it was going to start and stop, I really didn't have any plans or notion of trying to release it. My old and close friend, Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam, who happens to have an indie label, Loose Groove Records. It's funny, Stone had a label in kind of the late 90s, and then it kind of went away for a while and sold it or something, and kind of like vanished, and he's done a reboot of it. So Stone, who's always been a big cheerleader and advocate of mine with my writing music and BBC songs, he called me and said, hey, you know, we should really release these. I'm doing Loose Groove Records, you know, again, you know, you want to put these out? Come on, let me put them out. And I you know, sure, he didn't really have to talk me into it because I really didn't have to do much other than my stuff was, most of it was already done. But I was still, like I said, because it was at my house, being able to write and record at my leisure, that I was just kind of churning this stuff out. And I would send Stone stuff, and he would call me back and tell me, you know, God, this is great, boy, but I love it. He was really, you know, if everyone felt the way Stone does about my songwriting, I'd be really rich and really famous. But, you know, it's like, you know, I'm lucky to have a friend and like I said, a cheerleader like Stone to kind of keep me going and help inspire me and kind of push me along while I do this. And so, you know, it was fun. You know, I didn't have to, they basically paid for it to be mastered and help me with some artwork, but, you know, most of it was all, you know, I did myself, and I don't know much about recording or mixing. And that might be part of the beauty of it, too. It's got definitely a DIY punk rock feel to it in that respect. You know, some of the songs oh, God. Are you still there?
Yes.
Oh, good, because it's funny. I hadn't heard you. I kept talking, and I was like, I hope I haven't been cut off.
I just leave the place. You talk too much.
So I'm on a cell phone right now, and then I heard a beep calling in, like, oh my gosh, did we cut off 60 seconds ago? Now you're calling me back. And I looked at someone else calling me, and I pushed decline. But anyway, yeah. So you know, I know I just gave you an earful, but I think, you know, like what I was saying is, this being a punk rock station and me coming from a punk rock background, you know, some of the songs aren't necessarily punk rock in going to do them all on one record and have 40.
Wow.
Songs. Just having fun doing the artwork for the vinyl and such. We're like, well, let's do 2 different records and have 20 songs on the first and 21 on the second, kind of marking a 2021 thing to it, if anyone's keeping track at home. So yeah, there you go.
It's pretty rad because, I remember when Van Halen released the Greatest Hit Volume 1, there was never a Volume 2. So when you release Volume 1, there's a Volume 2 that you need to release after. But it's really great.
Tank, right?
Yeah!
and if you're looking at Volume 3, you never know.
A trilogy, why not? And it's cool because that's what I felt when I listened to the songs, that you were having fun. But, since you play with so many artists that have so different style and different approach from music, I think that you took everything that you learned from those artists and put it on the records. And like you said, it's pretty different. It's not a non-stop punk rock record, but we felt your roots, we felt your experience, and I know you grew up listening to a lot of those artists you play now with, so it's kind of surreal to learn from them and after that do the records. And Loose Groove is such a good record. I heard their history through the band The Livings, which was the band of Duff from Guns N' Roses when they started up, and they never released the records. And they did it, and Stone was there, and they helped us back in the days, because Seattle was really a punk rock scene when it started up, before label put a grunge name through the scene, but it was really a punk rock scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely, yeah. I think, like you were saying, a lot of those artists that I grew up really liking, and then ended up working with, the Replacements, Paul Westerbergs and the Devos. The stuff that I end up doing is kind of an extension of me, whether I like it or not. It's just become part of my makeup from the so many years of listening, and so many years of admiring it, and so many years of it just kind of sinking into you that it becomes part of you, whether you like it or not. It's like, mentioning Paul Westerberg, when I started working with him, and when anybody that's the head of a band goes off and does a solo thing, they'll say, oh, it sounds like their older band, or it sounds like the Replacements. It's like, well, he wrote all the songs for the Replacements, so of course it's going to sound like the Replacements. You can't help it, Or if, Chris Cornell would go to a solo record and go, well, some of it sounds like Soundgarden. Like, well, he's the singer in Soundgarden, so deal with it. Can't sound like anything else, because that's who he is. So yeah, for me, also with the Woman at Songs, bands have done this before. The Residents did an album called the Commercial Album, probably 30 years ago. They're all 60-second songs, and that aimed towards the, already back then, aiming towards the, taking a jab at the short attention span aspect of people and consumers sometimes. And for me too, like I said, it was so easy to, there was pressure. When I went in to record these songs, when I say I went in, I didn't have to go into a studio, I just watched it in my backyard. And because I wasn't planning on releasing them, trying to make money from them, there was no kind of pretense to any of it. And my attitude is like, if you don't like one of the songs, it's going to be over by the time you get up and push skip to the next song, so just let it play.
I'm curious, when you start up playing with the Vandals, the Vandals was never, I'm sure when you guys started up, it was never meant to make money from it or be a popular band. That was just kids that were having fun. But the impact of the Vandals is everywhere. But would you imagine playing with all those artists when you started up? Was it something that you really wanted to achieve, of everything came up naturally and the offer came and you just said yes to everything?
Yeah, that's basically it. I was very driven from an early age and was really focused and kind of had made up my mind on what I was going to do, and was determined enough and worked hard enough that I was able to turn even as fun. But, you know, even if it's a serious artist, I can have a lot of fun working with them. It doesn't have to be funny and joking to enjoy yourself. Sometimes doing really, really serious work, I get a lot of satisfaction out of that, too. You know what I mean? And I've worked with people that have a great sense of humor. Okay, but the music's not that great, so in the end, it's not a whole lot of fun. You know? But so for anything with me, it's like I treat each experience that I'm heavily involved. You know, recording with people, it's easy to just kind of jump in and out and only have to be this for a day or two. But bands that I've been involved with, or spend time with, or like leave my house, my family to go travel around the world for, those are things that I'm obviously a little bit more invested in. And it's not just a job. It's something that I stand behind creatively and artistically. And, you know, I've said it a million times, and my wife's sitting there next to me, and she's probably said it many times, but it's a funny line, which is, my dad always says, you know, Josh, some guys play poker and some guys go fishing, but you play in the Vandals. And I kind of all up, you know? Some people go to the football game on Sunday, or, you know, whatever, like I said, go fishing all day, you know. Anyhow, that's always been, and it's allowed me to go, and I jokingly say that it's allowed me to kind of keep my street cred kind of still at a certain level while I go off and I work with all the giant pop stars that I work with, you know. So people can say, oh, well, he played on this record, and then someone else in the room can go, yeah, but he still plays in the Vandals and plays those gigs, so that's pretty cool.
It's like best of both worlds. I don't want to make a joke with because I know you work with Miley Cyrus, but it's best of both worlds. I mean, I respect that so much.
But I mean, it's funny you bring Miley up because when I always joke it was before she was cool. You know, she actually was able to kind of shake that Disney image. And with the help of a few artists, I think he started really turning around. And she was working with, she was doing stuff with the Flaming Lips and stuff like that about 7-8 years ago. And people going, oh wow, she's kind of cool. That she made some kind of like R&B kind of dance tracks that weren't just Mickey Mouse stuff. But you know, I gotta say, even when I worked with her back when she quote unquote wasn't cool yet. I always actually liked her songs were good, and her singing voice is great. She's a great singer.
Yeah.
So I was kind of I was sticking up for her 15 years ago, when people were like, oh God, Hannah Montana, you know, and I'm going, God, you know what? She can actually sing. And to be honest, some of the records I worked on, she really didn't write much. Like the people that were writing for her were these great writers in LA, and some of the other musicians were like guys from Paul McCartney's band. Like some of the tracks I played out with Rusty Anderson, who's McCartney's guitarist, he and I playing on these tracks that really Miami was just coming and singing on them. You know what I mean? So, but you know, especially back then, it wasn't cool to say that you worked with her, that you liked it, but I was like, I really like some of these songs a lot.
And it's cool because, like I said, it's kind of a balance because you came from the underground scene, the DIY scene, and you see how the industry goes, and you can just balance, find, you know, the best way to deal with that. Because, yeah, people in the punk scene may be like, oh, you play on that records, but, man, they don't understand the whole thing. It's your job, and it's crazy that you can have the experience and learning from that, from, like I said, those artists. They're young, but they have...
Absolutely. Yeah, completely. And I was able to kind of draw a line early on between what I felt was a job and a job that I'm grateful to be able to continue to do, and I've always been able to make money doing. But the difference between a job and something that was really artistically rewarding and important to me, creatively. You know what I mean? So some of those records I played on, yeah, they're less about, you know, and some of those records bands, I couldn't tell you the names of the albums I played on. It really is just a job. But like I said, once again, a job that I'm happy to be able to do. And sometimes it's a producer friend of mine that I've got a relationship with that can call me and say, Josh, I'm producing so-and-so, and I could really use your help, and I could pay you well. And I go, sure. I go and do it, even if I don't love the band, it's an afternoon or 2 days of my time. I'm helping my friend out. He knows that he needs to call me for the drops. That's the other thing. The more you start saying no to people, the more producers will stop calling you around town. They go, oh God, Josh is so picky on everyone he works with. He's got to know all about their past history and read all their lyrics. And I'm not precious when it comes to that kind of stuff. Unless I've got a personal problem with them, or, you know, there's zero money in it or whatever, it's like, then I usually can't do it. But, you know, and that being said, I do things, not often, but I do work with people for no money for something that I love, something that I think is great, and if they have no money, like, of course I'll do stuff like that. And, but at the same time, I got to make a living, and like I said, I kind of decided a while ago the difference between what means a lot to me and what doesn't.
I do the same approach with the radio show. I did interview with many artists that I'm not really listening to or into, but, you know, through the interview I learn more about him, and I get to understand more their career and their music. And after that, sometimes I really dig more the music and everything. I think that it's important not to close door.
Yeah. And you can pull from all the experiences. I tell people, especially when they start off, that people still to this day say, how do I break into the music, you know, the studio scene, or how do I do what you do? And there's no one specific formula or recipe for that. But what I do always tell people is, especially in the beginning, is work with as many people as you can, whether you like the music or not, because sometimes you can be, it's just opportunities. It's another day you can get out of the house and go interact with other musicians, other producers, other recording engineers. I mean, still today, there's times that I said yes to like some dumb, like, I don't know, it was like a commercial for like, I don't know, 7-Up or Coke or something a couple of years ago. And it was a favor for a friend of mine, but I was at the studio, and when I was leaving, I ran into my friend Brendan O'Brien, real famous record producer. He's done all the Rage Against the Machine records, Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, Chili Peppers, the list goes on and on. I ran into him just when I was leaving the studio, and he's like, oh man, I didn't know you were in town. Like, I'm making this record, and we've been like trying to figure out how to get the drums done, because the guy doesn't have a drummer, and it doesn't sound that great. You know, are you available like now? And I had just gotten home off a tour, and I was available, and I wasn't working a whole lot, so I just got back to town. So I hadn't said yes to the silly, you know, beverage commercial, whatever I was playing drums on. I wouldn't have made this record with Brendan O'Brien that week. You know, so I think it's always important to get out there and interact with as many players and as many situations as you can, because you never know what it's going to lead to in the next thing. And that being said, letting them know that you're going to not be a hassle to work with, you know, being easy to work with and being cooperative and on time and professional like that. That's another big reason why I get hired to do all these things, is they know that no matter what, I'm going to show up prepared, and no matter what, I'm going to be on time, like no matter what. And so people like not having to worry about that ever.
It's true. It's true, and another thing that I really respect is you never, you know, the drum set and everything. It's kind of simple if you look in the industry. I mean, like, it's not the Portnoy when you was in Dream Theaters, but it's just the way you play is so natural, and I think that just the smile on your face and the way you live your passion, I think that it just nail it. You don't have to be the best drummer in the world for doing what you do.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Well, there should be a handful of all those. You kind of need all those aspects to roll into one. But yeah, I mean, I know guys that are phenomenal musicians that are hard to get along with, so no one wants them around, you know. And I've watched jobs go to guys that might not be as good necessarily, but they're easy to work with, and they're good to work with. And at the same time, you've got to deliver. You can't not be good at what you do and get all that work, but you need that combination for sure.
You're gonna release the records, but you also play in the last Danny Elfman records, which was released on Epitaph Records. I love Danny. It's such a. I discovered his new wave band a year and a half ago. I didn't know about that, and I'm really into it since that.
Oh, but you didn't know that he was making a solo record?
I know about his solo records, but he was involved in a new wave band, I think, when he started up, like, many years ago in the 80s. I think it's called Oingo Boingo. Yes.
Yeah. What was interesting about Oingo Boingo is that they were really popular, like, around Los Angeles, specifically, and in California, but they never were that big of a band globally, you know, and I mean, they'll tell you the same thing. They would play these really big Halloween shows every year, and they would sell out, like, you know, big venues, like, for a week solid. They'd do 5 or 6 nights, and make a lot of money, and do really well, and play handfuls of other gigs around town, but other than that, you know, they didn't tour a whole lot, and so a lot of people didn't know about them so much and only know Danny from his, you know, long, successful film composing career, you know.
And it's such a driving dude. I mean, I think it's kind of similar as you when he started up in the industry. He was not a well-known guy, and he just do all those crazy soundtrack and his solo records. It's such a driving, and his achievement is such a big impact in pop culture.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, you're not the only one that you know, brings that up, saying they weren't aware of his band from the 80s because they just, his name in the last 30 years is, you know, synonymous with film composing, you know, and feature films and orchestral music and stuff. And so when they find out that he did, you know, it's funny, being someone that as a kid knew his band, when I heard the guy from Oingo Boingo was doing music for film, I was like, really? Oh, okay. And then I don't even think he realized how great he was at it until he started doing it. And it's really like, you know, there's a reason why he is who he is and he's been as successful as he has, is because, you know, he just has a gift. And it came real natural. And he didn't go to music school and barely knows how to read music. We've talked about it. He can write music and he understands, you know, as far as needing, you know, sheet music and musical notation, but he can't read. And he doesn't, you know, doesn't play a bunch of different classical instruments, but he has that ear and he knows how to put that stuff together. And it's a pretty special talent, you know.
It's crazy. I heard the story. You were playing with the Vandals, and Offspring asked you to play drum with them, and I think you were not able. Like, I can take the plane and everything. And Dexter actually came to do you a lift with his own plane.
Yeah, that was about a month and a half ago. Yeah. So I mean, the Offspring. You know, I've played on most of their records in the last 20 years, but I don't really. But I've been in their band.
Splinter, I think.
I'm sorry?
Since Splinter, I think.
Exactly, yeah. And then when they had some trouble recently with their drummer Pete, they had some shows booked, and Dexter called me and said, you know, I would love if you can help me out with whatever you can help me out with. You let us know what shows you can do, and we'll take you for what we can, whatever we can get you. So I did a handful of shows and continuing to do some more shows with them coming up, but that first gig afternoon on Sunday, I remember the date. It was August 8th, because the first time I was going to play in front of anybody since the beginning of the pandemic was August 7th. The Vandals were playing with Pennywise. It was like Vandals, Pennywise, and Beer out in Denver. And I told Dexter, I said, man, you know, I'm playing the night before, and I kind of got to do it. Maybe I can get on a really early flight Sunday, but it's kind of pushing it. If there's something wrong with the plane, or it's delayed, it might be a problem. And Dexter said, hey, I'm a pilot, I've got a plane. I'll just come get you and bring you home the same night so you can play my show the next day. I was like, great. You know?
And it's crazy, because, you know, I think you deserve all of this. That's the, I'm sure you still find it kind of surreal. I mean, I was playing with the Vandals, didn't know I had the show tomorrow, and then I'm here playing with the Offspring.
Well, it was, you know, the cool part is that I've flown on private planes for a long time, you know, with different artists, but I've never had the singer in a band personally fly you to your show and then fly you right back home in his plane in order to work with him the next day. That was what made it extra special and cool. It wasn't just like, oh, Dexter's sending a private plane for me. It's like, no, Dexter's flying me. He's giving me a lift and taking me back at the same day. That was that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the only possible way that can happen if you replace Nico McBrain from maybe Iron Maiden and Bruce come pick you up, but
yeah. You know what's cool too is on the way back after the Vandals show, I went in the cockpit and I gave him $100 bill and asked him if he'd do a couple like flips on the way home, like during landing. So he did like a couple loopy-loops for me.
You kidding me?
No, I am kidding you.
I'm so afraid of heights.
My wife's not listening to me. No, I'm just messing around. I just think, I'm being way too serious during this conversation. I've got to like say something myself a little bit or something.
Yeah. I know how you love to have a laugh, and we saw that when Jim Lindberg did the Pennywise, not the Pennywise, but the Dad documentary when you were throwing, the baby.
Oh, the baby diaper.
Yeah, the diaper. That's the word I was seeking.
The baby diaper. Oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah, because I just got a baby. I just got a 9-month baby, and every time I change a diaper, I'm playing with that with my little girl. Yeah, I think it's number 1 or 2. Take that. And she's crying. No.
Oh, that's so funny, man. Oh, that's great. You just have. Is that your first kid?
It's the second. I've got one that have 11 years old, and we got the 8-month, and my girlfriend's got 2 twins, and they're 13. So we got 4 kids.
Oh boy. All right, wow, there you go. You got your hands full, man.
Yeah, they keep us busy. And now they're teenager. I think you enter in that era. It's pretty different.
Yes. I've got 4 kids. My wife and I have 4 kids. 20 years old, 14 years old. Well, he's almost 15, then almost 13, and almost 11. So we have our hands full as well.
Do they what kind of music they're listening to? Are they enjoying what you're doing, or like my kids, they don't give a fuck?
Actually, they do like the bands that I work with, and it's funny. My 12-year-old, who's in middle school right now, she came home the other day. She's like, "Dad, my math teacher thinks you're really cool. He really likes a perfect circle and 9 Inch Nails," and it's like, so once in a while it'll be something like that, But then my other kid, actually, this is a funny story that just happened yesterday. She goes, "Oh, I was talking with my friends in school. They think you're really cool." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm thinking, this is because I'm a drummer. And she goes, "Because they found out that you dropped out of high school." And they go, "Oh, your dad's cool. He dropped out of high school." What bands I play in.
No, because you dropped high school.
On the campus because her dad's a high school dropout. Like I'm some rebel,
And you mentioned 9 Inch Nails. Yeah. I'm always been a huge fan, and I know how Trent is. It's more than a hard worker. Is really he have something in his mind and is so dedicated to a project. Is it hard to enter in that world and understand his crazy mind musically?
Well, someone like Trent, I think we got along right away because we shared that trait of being focused and working really hard and being perfectionists when it came to what we do and taking it really seriously. We're both, in the rock and roll world, we've both experienced on different sides of the fence, people that want to party a little bit more, don't take it as seriously, or a little irresponsible. It's like the fact that we both were hard-working guys from early on and dedicated and focused. I appreciated that about him, and I think he really appreciated that about me when I worked with him. So we got along great in that aspect, and just actually joined this band and toured with them. And that was in the studios when I really saw, okay, this isn't a guy that just shows up and says to the producer, you know, where do I sing? Tell me where to go. You know, he's the first one there, and he's, you know, he's running the show, you know.
Wow, because, you know, I think that what you did with Nine Inch Nails, you really put something more, maybe not improvisation, but something more edgy, I think, and it's really cool because, you know, there was a lot of people involved in the band, and there was a lot of change, but they always have that line that they follow, and I think it was really working.
Yeah, I think so too. I love the time I spent with him, and the only reason that I stopped working with him was only because my wife and I had 2 boys that were getting older, and we were having our 3rd child, and I couldn't be back out on tour again all year long. I needed to take a break and be home.
It's beautiful, and I respect that, you know, because you have just one chance to see your kids grow up, and I spoke with a lot of musicians that are struggle with that, you know, we're away, I'm not there with the birthday and everything, and it's rough,
Yeah.
and that you find a balance to...
For sure. Yeah.
And
you know, Eric, I apologize, but I have to run.
No worries at all. Josh, it was a huge honor and a pleasure to talk to you. You're going to be on tour with Devo. I think you're playing tonight, actually.
Well, no. The New York show got postponed due to some COVID things and some problems with the promoter and the unions out there and stuff. So we're not playing tonight. We were supposed to. I'm back in California right now, but we're playing in Los Angeles on Saturday and Vegas on Sunday. And then I fly to Greece on Monday, and I work with Sting out in Greece for a week. And then I come back and do some Offspring shows. So I'm pretty slammed right now. And also getting ready for my record to come out and trying to make some videos for it and do some press. Blah, 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 blah.
We're gonna play many songs as we can. Since they're short, we can play a lot on the show. And have fun.
All right.
Have fun with the Devo, Sting, and Offspring shows. And Josh, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Have the time of your life. And just before we leave, quickly, can you just do us a quick ID just saying, hi, this is Josh, and you're listening to Prescription Punk Rock.
Did you say Prescription Punk Rock?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Anytime?
Yes.
Hey there, this is Josh Freese, and you are listening to Prescription Punk Rock.
Oh, professional. You nail it in one fucking shot. Josh, thank you for your time and generosity.
Cool, Eric. Thank you, man.
Have the time of your life, and see you around Quebec and Canada.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.